We are in the thick of holiday season, a time of celebrations, parties, gatherings. But what if you're flying solo with no partner or family? That's the reality for about 36 million Americans. U.S. Census data shows nearly a third of all households are made up of just one person, and that means a lot of people are alone during a time where togetherness is a big deal. Dr. Michele Nealon, president of the Chicago School of Professional Psychology, joins me this morning with some of the pros and cons of living alone. Good morning.
Well, good morning. Great to be with you this morning, Sandra.
Great to speak with you. We're going to talk about all the things because there's so many more Americans living alone in a household. And now around the holiday season, there's a lot of togetherness, as we've been mentioning, but also a lot of feelings that come with that, right? As the holiday season is a time where people are gathering and having parties. So talk about some of the cons that people might be feeling if they are entering the season alone.
Well, it's such a great topic in general, but most importantly, because we're approaching the holiday season where you mentioned we're socialized to believe that we should not be on our own and that there is something negative about being on our own. But more and more people are living alone and then, of course, finding themselves alone for the holidays. So the cons depend on the situation that you're in and why you're alone. Some people find themselves alone because they choose to be alone. So for them, they might say that it's hard to find a con because that's their choice. Others may be recently on their own, an adverse life circumstance or the loss of a loved one or a loss of a family. So for them, there can be that feeling of something has shifted into a place that is making them want to redefine how they see themselves and how they see themselves at the holidays. In those circumstances, Sandra, that's when people can shift into feelings of loneliness, not just necessarily that feeling of being alone.
And so what can people do to cope?
There's many things. My first recommendation is to reset your mindset. So the holidays bring a tremendous amount of pressure on everyone. They're expensive. They can be stressful. They can come with a lot of drama if you're bringing together family that hasn't been around together for quite some time. So resetting your mindset in terms of you start to get to define what the holidays mean for you in the circumstances that you're choosing to live in or that you are living in. The second one is it's a fantastic time to reestablish what are holiday traditions for yourself. So oftentimes as we approach the holidays, we continue the traditions that were passed down to us when we were children and we were growing up in our own families. But people that are now on their own can start to decide maybe it's not a tree, maybe it's not a traditional dinner, maybe that's the time where you choose to go for a walk in nature or get a great massage or go for a cup of coffee all by yourself because it's nice and quiet. And then two other things I would really recommend, Sandra. One is when you are alone, there's a lot of positives about being on your own. You get to choose your mess in your living room. You get to choose what's in your fridge. You get to choose what you are going to do on the holidays. So this is a great time for self-reflection and for self-focus and doing something for yourself. And then lastly, believe it or not, you can do something wonderful for yourself and your emotional well-being by doing something for others. So if it's right for you, find somebody or some group that you can volunteer with this year or that you can extend yourself in whatever way is important to you. So those four things and many more, but please don't focus on this as a negative thing to be alone for the holidays. Find the ways in which you can make this special for yourself.
I love all those tips, especially, look at the fact that you have freedom, right, to make your own decisions. Also set those new traditions for yourself, right? It doesn't have to be what you grew up with in the past. That's not the model always. And as you mentioned, if you do want to be with other people, there's always a community around you willing to accept you, right? Whether that's volunteering, helping out your neighborhood, helping out a community community you believe in and belong in. So those are such great advice and tips for people who are finding themselves alone this holiday season. And of course, you should never look at it as a negative. Always focus on the positive.
You got it. Fantastic summary.
All right, well, Dr. Nealon, thank you so much for that advice. And of course, happy holidays to you and your loved ones. Great advice for this holiday season. We'll be right back.
And to you too, Sandra.
Thank you.